Hey, thanks for tuning in. It's another week of sports talk, average sports, by some average guys. I'm Ty.
I'm Eric.
And thank you guys for listening in. And if you haven't heard this show before, it's really quite simple. We're just going to talk about sports, about anything and everything, or nothing. But as long as it's about sports, it could be in the show. But one thing we're not going to talk about?
Man, we are not talking about King James and his drama going on in Cleveland.
Seriously, I'm just so... It's like every year, you know?
Every year, January,
maybe it's
man,
just
this happens.
a craving of the limelight. I don't know. Or maybe he really doesn't like it. But either way, just not going to talk about it. So moving on. Let's get into the week recap for us on sports. Have you seen the Avs lately, Eric? My
Dude, the Avs
goodness.
are surging, man.
10 wins in a row, tying a franchise record. Congratulations to those guys. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, they're looking really, really good, man. The best thing about it is that they've won all of these games against teams in playoff contention. So, or actually in playoff position.
Yeah, I know one thing. A cynic might say, well, they won a lot of those games at home. But you know what? Who else is winning 10 games in a row in the NHL right now? Ain't nobody.
Dude, that's tough, man.
I know. Always tough.
Not happening.
Well, let's talk about what you wanted to recap about. A little bit of that Hats game against Jacksonville.
Yeah, I wanted to know if you saw what looks to be like some collusion going on with the referees and the Pats.
Collusion.
You had some celebrating from the side judge after James White scored his touchdown.
Serious accusation. Yeah,
it's
I know what you mean, though.
Accusation.
It is, though, and the fact that you could say it and go, yeah, I can see that, because at a certain point, it ceases to be coincidence. Even if I'm holding on to certain bias that I may have, allegedly, against
definitely
against the Patriots, I just get so worked up over seeing these calls always going against their opposition, and it just never seems to fall on them the same way it does against teams they play.
No, it doesn't. And also at the end of that game too, the head referee went up to Tom Brady, congratulated him right away. Probably telling him where he can send that check to. Now that they're all done with the game.
Yeah. Well, I am, a little disappointed in the outcome of the game. However, I do want to sneak in a little bit of an impromptu props toward myself. Eric, you think you know where I'm going with this. The NFL playoffs, you and I talked about it. We had complete opposite picks on who was heading into the Super Bowl. I was 2 for 2, my friend. And you? Just
I feel like I did not do super well. I think you specifically told me it's going to be the Pats and the Eagles, and that's just the way it has to be.
Yes. I mean, are you really that surprised those are the teams that went on? And especially the way the Eagles made it out of that game.
It's just my pure hatred for both of those teams.
Your bias overcame. Emotion won, and you shouldn't let that happen, Eric. Come on. But you're a true fan, and I appreciate that about you. But how about some other topics of the week? We are moving into our first one, and this is something I am growing more and more passionate over. I am dead serious about this. It is so not serious at all, actually. It's just something I would love to see across all professional sports on any broadcast. I just want to see the team's records posted on the digital scoreboard. Is that so hard? You see the points of the game. You see how much time is left on the clock. You see timeouts. You see penalty minutes. You see all kinds of stuff. You know who's on base. You know the count. But what is their record? I want to see that all the time. Should just be up there. Leave it. It's only one thing you even have to do for your pregame. It's just a number. Make sure it's right. Put it in. It's that simple. I just think after watching this entire NFL season, wanting to know the records of anyone who's out there who's playing in a matchup, I don't want to have to look it up. Is that too much to ask?
No, that's not too much to ask. I mean, I think what's really important and the takeaway here is that...
Can you tell I'm serious about this? I am very...
I can tell you're serious about it, and I have a feeling it probably festered during the NFL season this year,
yes,
which is a lot easier, I think, to follow overall record-wise than some of the professional sports that have substantially longer seasons. 162 games in baseball, 82 games in basketball and hockey. And those are hard to keep track of sometimes. And you don't always want to open up your ESPN app, which the mothership app doesn't always work super fast.
Oh my gosh, yeah, their servers must be the size of a microwave. I don't know. It just does not ever work. Maybe it is a microwave because half the time you have to restart the app anyway. Anyway, this is not a conversation about ESPN. It's a conversation about wanting to know freaking records of certain teams that are out there. And because what's one of the most common questions anyone asks who isn't necessarily following a sport? I think you've heard this as much as anyone. Hey, how are they doing this year?
Yeah,
well, if that game was on, all you had to do is look at the record. You don't have to go, they're doing, I don't even know if they're in the playoffs. You don't even, who cares? You just can see the record, and then you'll know how decent, poor, great they're doing. I just want to be on the record and make that a personal movement. Get the records on the scoreboards. That's how I feel.
Personal with me, soapbox there for you.
All right, that is it. That's my topic. Let's head into what you wanted to talk about for the show. I like it a lot because it's coming up very soon, just a few days, the 2018 Winter Olympics.
Olympics. I'm so excited.
Yeah, in South Korea.
I definitely like the Winter Olympics way more than I like the Summer Olympics. And I think part of that, obviously, is that I've been involved in that industry for so long as well as you have.
Love the Winter
Olympics. So I just want to talk about some of the things that I'm really excited for and see if you're excited for some of the same things here. Obviously, I'm super excited for a lot of the snowboarding events, the skiing events, so the pipe, the big air, the border cross, ski cross, and the slope styles are the ones that I'm really, really excited for. I'm also excited for hockey, even though we're not going to have our NHL players over there. It's still going to be a lot of fun to watch because Olympic hockey just in general is a lot of fun, and hockey period is a lot of fun. And then some of my underrated sports that I think are going to be climbing up the list. As always, you're going to find curling on this list because I just love the intensity.
There's nothing wrong with sliding pucks down ice. It is an enjoyable sport.
It's so great, and they're so intense about their sweeping. I need them to come over and clean my house. They're so great at it. And then I love bobsled, skeleton, and luge. I just love watching those sports. I think it's a lot of fun, and it's something I've always wanted to do. So I always just kind of admire those sports. What about you? What are you excited for?
Like skeleton? Are you kidding me? Like, let's get you head first going down this big ice chute. Sure.
Yeah, going like 80 miles an hour.
I love it, though. Yeah.
How do you find athletes for that?
I don't. That one, I honestly, I don't know. That one's a little crazier. I've seen. Now, I don't know if you've seen it, Eric. There's double-decker luge. I don't even know what they're calling it, but it's a 2-person luge. This is the first time I've seen it. I watched the qualifiers over the weekend. You get a buddy who's pushing the sled right behind you. They lay down, you lay on top of that person, and then you're steering the damn thing and trying to do it the fastest. Have you seen this?
Yeah, I have seen the 2-person luge.
The 2-person luge. That's beyond crazy to me. So how about some other activities I'm looking forward to? I guess not activities, events. I'm right there with you, Eric. I think bobsled, of course, and then away from that, all those events, we got the slope style, and big air is awesome to see that coming. And, of course, all the other skiing, snowboarding. I even love the moguls and mixing in their aerials in with those routines. Even Super G, downhill, all that stuff, man. Love it. And hockey,
me too, man.
Of course.
Love it. It's awesome.
Yeah. That is happening just a few days, but I'm also really amped up about some of the girls. You don't usually get that excited as for the men's skiing and riding, but this year the women are just kind of taking over. They look like they are ready to get after it. Hannah Teeter's coming back. Kelly Clark, even, she's in her 30s. I think she's like 34 years old. She's coming back to the Olympics. And then the Korean 17-year-old Kim, she's going to be there. Chloe Kim, she's throwing like back-to-back 10s in the pipe. It's pretty awesome to see how they are pushing the sport on their end of things. So can't wait to see it.
Yeah, Chloe Kim's got to be the favorite going into the half pipe. And I remember Kelly Clark when I was in high school. She was competing in the Olympics. So it's almost like this nostalgia thing to see. And I know, and I'm going to be honest, I don't expect her to medal, but she's going to compete, and she'd be a great mentor to be out there, someone who's been to this high level of stage a number of times, won I don't know how many X Games. She's awesome. So it'll be cool to see her back out there competing. I wanted to ask you, Eric, if you could create any Olympic event, what do you think you'd bring out? Oh, I would love to see big mountain skiing and snowboarding. it's not really something that's widely talked about or followed. And they do a few events, throughout the country or, in different places. And I really love it. You can get very creative with your lines and, big mountain skiing and snowboarding is obviously incredibly dangerous. So it adds a whole new dynamic to it. And I think that's what I would add. I like that.
Nice. That's a pretty good one. And if anyone has never seen that kind of event either, I challenge you to go find that competition and try not to like it. It's so incredible with the amount of creativity athletes can bring in and the different features that can be in a run. That event alone is pretty awesome. Also, how about into some standings here lately, Eric? Let's jump into some tennis under the... What do they call it in Australia? The down under? Something like that.
Let's talk about the quarterfinals here. So, moving into the quarterfinals here for the men, we had three of our top four seeds went ahead and moved on. However, today we had a couple of them drop out. So, Rafael Nadal lost to the number 6 seed Selic, and number 3 Dimitrov, dropped to Edmund. And so now you have, only one top 4 seed left, and that's Roger Federer. Now he does play today. So by the time that we get done with this, he could potentially be in and move on, or he could be completely out. And that's going to leave us with, at best, only one of the top 4 seeds in the semifinals for the Australian Open. So we could definitely have some new blood,
which is unreal. Yeah, and a very welcome thing to see, I think, too. I always like seeing some new faces win. And on the women's side of things, we have some good competition heating up. Kerber moving on to German, and Wozniacki, heading on and into the finals. So it should be some good competition all around, some good matches to look forward to and watch out for. But let's get into the rest of the sports universe here in terms of good games to watch and be on the lookout for. Eric, who do you got?
I got 2 games I'm really excited about. One is going on tonight, and that is going to be the Nashville-Tampa Bay game in the NHL. 2 of the top NHL teams moving forward and together in this matchup between a top Western and a top Eastern Conference team. And then another one that I like on Saturday, so you guys can check it out, especially as we move further into college basketball season, top 5 matchup with UVA and Duke.
Nice. Those are good ones. I am with you on the Nashville game. That's going to be some pretty good competition there. Tampa Bay being the top of their division, and Nashville right there in the West. So, and of course, Duke basketball, UVA, maybe a little March Madness preview. I like where your head's at, Eric. All right, that's going to do it for our show. Eric, any last words there for you?
Thanks for listening and tuning in, guys.
That's Average Sports by some average guys. Hope you tune in next time.